Hey everybody, this is Mr. Hardcore Mode where nothing is easy, here to bring you another hard rant into what Polygon had to say in regards to Death Stranding 2. Now, Death Stranding 2 is a remarkable, beautiful game by Hideo Kojima with a impactful story with weird sort of set style creatures and world, story building, and a whole cast and crew of each person that you meet almost feels like they have a whole entire story in of itself. The second one came out and people are liking it, but there's only two, or there's at least one gripe I have with Death Stranding 2, and I believe Hideo Kojima should never do this again. And it's the fact that they added the skip bosses addition to the game. Now, I honestly do not want to hear anybody say, well, if somebody wants to do it, I get it, you can play the game you want. That's cool and all, but I don't want to regress as a society and take away something that's supposed to be amazing. If you want Death Stranding 2's bosses to be more impactful, go to Hideo Kojima himself and say, hey, your boss fights in Death Stranding in general, they're not memorable, because it almost sounds like Polygon is saying the boss fights are not memorable. It almost seems like Polygon looks at Death Stranding's boss fights, those giant tar BTs, are just fancy little screensavers, basically. It's like, oh, it looks nice, but I don't feel like, fighting it. And it's kind of true. I feel like Hideo Kojima has lost his edge a little bit because each boss fight from Metal Gear Solid, you remember, come on. But each boss was impactful in Metal Gear, but for some odd reason with the BTs, I think he could change something about the BTs to where each BT or giant BT is more impactful. Yes, they look nice, they're interesting, but they don't bring much in the way of like, oh man, this boss is super interesting. It's got kick-ass mechanics. Also, the boss has a whole entire story in of itself. I don't feel that. When I played Death Stranding 1, and Death Stranding 2 is almost entirely the same as Death Stranding 1, but not too much. But basically, those giant BTs do need more time to cook. Basically, it's undercooked right now. I think there should be more added to the BTs. But they got lazy and they chose the option to add a skip boss button. And I don't like that. I don't like the ability to skip boss fights. It is entirely retarded. It's a stupid thing to do. If you are not good at a boss, I respect somebody more when they defeat a boss. Maybe it takes a couple of days, maybe a few hours, maybe it takes 7 months. If you beat that boss that you hated, that you died 600 times, I have so much respect for you because you tried. You tried and tried and tried again, and once you won, I saw the look on your face. It felt like you felt vindicated, you felt powerful, you felt like this is my moment. And that moment, you take it away, none of these bosses, you basically just said, Hideo Kojima, you just said, none of my bosses are interesting. That's what you said. Oh yeah, I have an interesting gameplay and story, but some of my gameplay and story is kind of boring, so here you go, you can skip it. It's stupid. It should never be a thing. I absolutely despise this. I feel like Hideo Kojima has been infected a little bit with Western ideology, and I really cannot stand it. So, we're going to read this little thing by Josh Broadwell in Polygon. He says, Death Stranding 2 is way more enjoyable if you skip all boss fights. Oh, okay. Basically, what he's trying to say is, I can quickly get this game over with, so I can cash a check. That's all this is. This isn't anything else. Everything else he says in this thing is a complete waste of air. The pretend you won option in Death Stranding 2 on the beach is a small but radical little choice. It pops after you fail a boss fight and lets you skip the encounter entirely with a brief text explainer telling you how things would have unfolded if you won. You might get a lower rank or miss one or two non-essential scenes for the choosing this option, but there's no judgment. There is judgment. If you skip a boss fight in this game, you're a coward. That's right. You are trash. Yeah, there it is. Oh, you can't be gatekeeping. Yeah, I can. You're trash. You just bought a, how much is this game? Let me see, because I haven't checked. I'm wondering, is it $80? I am so curious. Wow. It's $70. Thought it would be like $80. The collector's edition is $229. You can kiss my ass, Hideo. Anyway, it is $70. That is a lot of money. So, here is my thing. If you spend $70 or $60 on something, if you spend any amount of money on something and then you just throw away a piece of it, you are wasting your money. And if you want to waste your money, that's cool. But don't come over to my medium, which is gaming, and say something like, you should do more of this. Get the fuck out of here, okay? You want to buy like 10 packs of smokes and then throw away like 9 of them and keep 1 pack? That's on you. That's on you. But don't come over to my gaming. Listen, I'm Mr. Hardcore Mode. I like this shit, okay? I like challenging boss fights. Don't come over to my shit, you pretending, these Polygon gamer pretenders over here. I can't stand them. I can't. Anyway, let's go on. But there's no judgment, no restrictions, no downside. The downside is the gaming industry. That's the downside. The bypassing. What else do you want us to skip? Why don't we just skip skip the prologue? Skip the prologue? How about we skip dialogue? And then later on you could complain that you don't know what is going on, but everybody just said you skipped the dialogue, so you didn't really listen to what was going on. How about we skip the part where you get loot? There's no need to get loot. You're gonna skip the boss anyway. You see what I'm saying? Why are you getting loot? You're gonna skip the boss anyway. We don't need loot anymore. Don't worry about the loot. Why are you looking in your inventory? We don't have loot in this game. We took it away. All you have to do is just talk to the boss, and then the boss will kill itself. Does that sound fun? Anyway. Let's see. Let's continue. That was crazy. No downside to bypassing something frustrating and choosing to engage with the parts of the game you really like. That's you. If you want to play this game as a movie, then go a fucking head. But you're a game journalist. Be a game journalist and then watch somebody do all the cutscenes and watch the story that way. Just do it that way. Do it separate from your job. You're supposed to play the game. Whatever. It's a brilliant, elegantly simple design choice, and I would be far less keen to keep playing Death Stranding 2 without it. This nigga just admitted that he doesn't want to waste any more time on this game, so he can just quickly give you a 9 out of 10 because Hideo Kojima is well known, and the game looks nice, so I could just give him a 9 out of 10, and then call it a day. I want to let you guys know something. These game journalists, there's a reason for the numbers that they put on certain things. Hideo Kojima is linked up with Sony, so that's more access for IGN, Polygon, and all their friends. If they give good scores to big AAA, developers, that means more access for them, and access is currency. I'm not saying this as someone who hates boss fights. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. In video games, or who usually struggles with them either. I beat Mesmer and Shadow of the Erdtree before From Software nerfed him, and I liked it. No, you didn't. You didn't beat Mesmer. Let's stop lying. At this point, I kind of wish I could watch the game journalist play the game to see for myself whether or not we're never gonna see this, by the way. What, you're gonna just blindly believe what Polygon just said? He's like, oh yeah, I beat Mesmer and I liked it. He's like, okay, what happened in the second phase of the game? He's like, what combos did Mesmer have? He's like, just curious. Just off the hand. Which, here's a good question. Did you use a summon? If you used a summon, you're a bitch. There, I said it. Have I used a summon? Yes. That means I'm also a bitch. Hey, it's equality up in this bitch. Okay? I have done it too. I like Death Stranding 2's bosses as well. No, you don't. You just skipped them. What are you talking about? You skipped the bosses. We just had this conversation. We had this conversation. You skipped bosses. Okay. Their evocative encounters made all the more impressive by how Kojima Productions turned mechanically straightforward moments into memorable set pieces. So basically, all he's saying is, blah, 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 screensaver. It would make a nice screensaver. And then at the end here, he says, if you scrap basically everything down from the boss fight, you're left with the equivalent of a standard boss fight from any mid-2000s 3D game. Motherfucker, I like mid-2000s 3D games. They're fun. What the fuck is this? He's like, you come over to my video games and give me this artsy-fartsy, well, what's the story? What's the vibe? I fucking hate it when people mention vibes. What's the trauma with the characters? Ooh, what's the story? And I'm just like, I miss the days when video games didn't take itself too seriously. I miss that shit. A small arena is home to a big boss with maybe 3 attacks, and you attack it, run away, and repeat. That's it. I like the way that you make this sound, because Polygon gave this game a 9 out of 10, okay? So he just deconstructed a boss that he doesn't care about into a minute mid-2000s 3D game. That's what he did. He basically, he didn't say the boss fights need to be more valid, there needs to be a little oomph with the boss fights. He didn't say anything like that. He just basically said like, well, it's pretty much, you know, it's just this. It's rinse and repeat sort of nonsense. He doesn't say anything in regards to this needs to change because the boss fights need to have flavor. I don't want to skip boss fights. I would like to enjoy your boss fights. There needs to be more flavor to the boss fights. This is just him deconstructing the boss fight, and he still gave it a 9 out of 10. You see what I'm saying? It's like talking to your mom and she doesn't give you a straight answer. She's trying to be nice. And then here I come, I'm the father, and I'm just like, listen, son, that boss fight, lukewarm. They're mid as fuck, okay? These boss fights, they need to have something. Where's the meat and potatoes of this boss fight? All you got are vegetables. All you got are vegetables. You need meat in your bones, boy. You over here with your pretty BTs with all the tar and all. Just say it. Just say it about Hideo Kojima. Just say it. Just do it. If you believe that Hideo Kojima's bosses don't have much in the way of a boss fight, you need to show it, because you gave it a 9 out of 10 and you really didn't give any sort of talking point to that. You're just saying like, well, it's just a basic boss fight. You are basically putting a pillow around your sword, and then you're just going, eh. It's like watching your sister get hit by your like dad is pissed at all the kids, and then you see dad roll up a newspaper and pat your sister on the head. And then once dad comes over to the boys, he whips out the fucking belt and goes ham. That's what Polygon is doing about this whole fucking article. He's like, well, this could be, fucking speak with your fucking heart. What the fuck is this shit? The redeeming feature of Death Stranding 2's boss fights is that they're spectacles. See, it's all just a screensaver. It's giant. See the fact that it's a redeeming feature. Why don't you just say that's all there is about the boss fights? You make it seem like it's still a good thing. Like, oh well, the boss fights, they look so pretty. They're so nice. But I skipped the boss fight, so how would I really know that? You see what I'm saying? And I'm just like, oh, I saw the boss when it came up into my screen, and it looks nice, but I'm gonna let myself die, and then I'm just gonna skip the boss fight, and then be like, well, that boss looked nice. I wonder what he was gonna do. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You skip the boss fight. I honestly wish that you could skip the boss fight and lose valuable stuff. Like information. We're talking about not just the score, but also the like story bits. I honestly wish this whole skipping a boss shit was thrown out the fucking window. It's not needed. Let's continue. Take the tutorial boss for fight, for example. The giant BT that appears in the middle of Deadman's recorded message for Sam. Sure, the idea is to teach you how to handle the... We're literally, you get a tutorial of a boss fight, and you don't even want to do the tutorial boss fight. Is that what you're saying? You might as well throw this whole article out the window. Talking about like, well, it looks nice, but I don't really care. Just say you really don't care about the boss fights. They're boring. They're bland. I skipped the boss fight, and I went back to the story because it was more interesting. The bosses are boring, and I don't feel like working that hard. I want to quickly cash a check. And then say that. They won't say that because they'll get in trouble. That's why. They won't do that. I'm not going to say anything on here because I'm pretty sure there's some spoilers down here. But yeah, there's some spoilers down here. But he says at the bottom, while I appreciate the thematic unity of all the interruptions, while I appreciate the interruptions, while I appreciate the interruptions, that's exactly what I'm talking about. They speak nicely, but you know exactly what they're saying. The bosses are a giant interruption. This person just wants to sit back and enjoy the movie and cash a check. He don't want to fucking work. This walking simulator, Death Stranding ass game is built hard for game journalists. All these niggas have to do is just walk from point A to point B, and they're like, man, I'm gonna get this article done quick, bruh. It's gonna be good. And then I'm gonna cash a check. Maybe it's a skill issue. No, I honestly don't believe... well, he's saying, well, if somebody says maybe it's a skill issue, you say, and sure, fine, I'll admit it. I'm not the best at correctly timing a dodge after the camera decides to lock on the sky, or when Sam randomly takes ages to recover from a hit and can't evade, so you already know all the difficulty things, and now you can use that information to learn more about the boss, but whatever. There's never enough depth in these fights to make replaying them with a different approach enjoyable either, and any spectacle wears thin after a while. See, that's where you need to start off with. You need more of this. You need way more than this. And also, you need to stop doing this thing, because you're about to get replaced with AI if you keep on doing this bullshit, by the way. You need to have more oomph. boss fights are a big part of Death Stranding 2. It's a big part of Death Stranding 2. But since you don't like the boss fights, you gave the game a 9 out of 10. You're like, well, I think this score should be lower because I don't like the boss fights. They get in the way, but I have to give it a high score because it's Hideo Kojima, and I go by his the fact that he's with Sony, and that's pretty much it. But you don't really get, you are literally wrapping up a newspaper and patting Hideo Kojima on the head. You won't just give him the straight facts. And that's exactly why Death Stranding 2 pretend you won button is such a good necessary choice. Bullshit. It's not. It's a horrible choice, and it's gonna fuck up gaming in its entirety. I fucking hate the fact that Hideo Kojima did this. Do you think that even though I like Hideo Kojima, I'm just gonna sit back and just take what he gives me? Fuck no. I think it was a stupid idea that he added. He's so ready to add merchandise and add VTubers to his fucking game that he doesn't realize the damn problem. He's so ready to make films and like add like guest appearances and shit, and he's just like, yeah, oh yeah, you know this person? Yeah. I appreciate that, but you need to calm the fuck down with your video game and be a fucking video game. You know what I'm saying? Like I could only take so much Hideo Kojima. I like it when the game has, I know Hideo Kojima has been like this for a while, but there was a perfect balance between this is a serious video game, and we had pretty much, you know, a good portion of funny moments in the game. But if you put it through all of the video game where it's just like, it's like, oh man, get some merchandise. Oh, you know this guy? You know this famous guy? Yeah, this famous guy. It's like, oh man, you saw this VTuber? This VTuber's in this game. There's a VTuber in Death Stranding 2. But basically, all I'm saying is I wish he could take the game a little bit more. I think he really did make the game really like seriously. All I'm saying is he shouldn't neglect the fact that we want to he should not neglect his art. That's what I'm trying to say. He should not neglect his art. Basically doing that pretend you won bullshit. Do not neglect your art. You gave us boss fights, giant BTs. Okay, let us fight them. Let us fight them. That's it. What's this whole pretend you won bullshit? What's this? The hell's going on? You want us to see your art? Well, I can't see your art if I'm skipping through them, can I? I'm not having a challenge now because I'm skipping through them. Well, Mr. Hardcore Mode, it's an option. Sooner or later, we're gonna lose so many different parts of what makes video games video games. I mean, we got microtransactions, we got political ideology poisoning our video games, we got skipping the boss fights. I mean, we start from skipping the boss fights to skipping more bullshit. They're gonna be like, oh, this is what you guys want? Okay, well, don't you wanna skip more shit and pay more money for video games? Does that sound fun? You wanna have more options to skip the game and pay more for video games? Fuck out of here with that bullshit. You wanna see some people that actually enjoy and finish video games? Here's one. Here's Kai Cenat playing Elden Ring. See, he's just, Yes! 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 It took him 167 hours and 1,700 deaths to beat that fucking annoying boss. And he did it. Kai Cenat did it. He's already better than a game journalist. You want to see somebody else? Here's a random VTuber that I looked up. She is fighting Radon Prime. Super hard boss fight.
Oh my
See what I mean? See what I mean? And she's fighting the boss without any clothes on. She got no defenses, all damage. You want to see somebody else? And this time we're not even talking about Elden Ring. We're talking about Death Stranding 2. You guys like DSP? He's fighting a BT right now. Maybe he's probably gonna skip this boss fight. He just died. See, this is your guy DSP. He's ready to skip the boss fight. Pretend you won.
Pretend you won. Imagine the battle has been fought and move on with the story. Note that where this takes you, the battle may not be completely over. You'll not receive a normal evaluation. So
see, DSP is the type of motherfucker to skip a boss fight, okay? DSP don't give a fuck about anything. He doesn't care about any of his video games. All he cares about is money.
Wait, you can artificially skip parts of the game? Yeah. You can pretend you won and the game will cheat and it will pass
I like how he said cheat.
the fight you're in. Well, that's an interesting mechanic.
Excuse me? Excuse me? He didn't skip the boss fight? You mean to tell me that DSP, the most money-grubbing gremlin, the man that's like, oh, I'm not going to play any more of this game until you guys give me any money. I'm just going to count to 10, and if I don't get $50, I'm not going to play the game. 10, 9, 8, well, I'm going to stop playing the game. This motherfucker DSP did not skip the boss fight. He wanted to beat the boss. He didn't skip. Bro. Better than Polygon. Oh my God. Polygon, you done fucked up. You done fucked up, Polygon. Basically, let's end it on this. Fuck these game journalists. And I believe that they should definitely be let go. Maybe they can find themselves in the political, journalism. Maybe they couldn't make it into political journalism. Or maybe they can go to fucking Starbucks and make my tea. I firmly believe Josh Broadwell should focus on making my tea than becoming a game journalist with this sort of rhetoric that is going to destroy our games. Because I'm going to say this, if Hideo Kojima ever somehow magically finds my video, you can get fucked with that whole skipping boss fights bullshit. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Hideo Kojima, if you make a film, I'm just gonna fucking why would I pay for a film when I can skip and just pirate it? You know what I mean? Is there anything else? Skip any video games you got. I could just, I mean, what else? I mean, you see what I'm saying? Let's just skip that. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at this one. Thanks for hearing me out. God, I hate these game journalists.